All right, all right. We're live.
Hey everyone, great to be here.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
Doing really well. So you
All
know who
right.
we are by now. I'm John C. Morley, and this is,
Hurricane Age.
and together we make the duo of Double
Double
Impact,
impact,
baby.
baby. Hey, see, we got it coordinated. This time was like perfect.
We in
No
practice
rehearsal
here.
there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, folks. We're up here and running, and I think today we're gonna spin a little bit differently. So we're gonna be chatting, but we expect you to guys join us and send us your comments and interact with us live and let's talk. If you have any questions about I don't know, entrepreneurship, business, sales, you name it,
Anything,
believe in
anything
it.
you want to talk about, we're here to talk to you.
Yeah, you want to just joke around with us, we welcome that as well. So let's have fun. All right. And we'll make it some productive, show today. But we're also going to talk about a few things that
I
we've,
like to talk about something very interesting tonight, if we can. I like to
of
talk
course.
about how sometimes a company or organization can get to the top, but they can get to the top the wrong way. And just when they think they're at the top or they're really starting to get traction, they actually start to do something wrong, or they might have done things wrong in the past and they haven't really made up for their mistakes. And so they start trying to placate people because they think they're so powerful. And then the people that help make them grow start telling people about the true company they really are.
Hmm. Well, we can talk about the cultures, company
Yeah.
culture. I think that's a big discussion because I mean, I've worked with a lot of corporations and over the years, and I've seen quite a bit. And some companies are for the people, some companies get destroyed because they're no longer for the people. It's an interesting topic, and we can talk. And folks, if you're watching right now and you want to chime in on this discussion, please feel free. Send us your comments, and we'll post them, and we'll connect. We'll respond.
We'll connect, we'll respond, we'll give you the answers that you may want to hear or not. We're going to give you the truth here. So make sure that you're ready for it. So if you're looking for, just the bubble gum and all the rainbows, we're probably not the place you want to be. Although
Well,
we're positive, but actually, my show this week, by the way, Hurricane, is about seeing the glass half full instead of half empty. What do you do each day to make sure your glass is half full?
ooh, I guess we don't want to spoil that. We'll leave that for your show because that's a whole topic on its own. I get it. I mean, I love that stuff. I'm a person that's always thinking the cup is half full. So there's
I
always
think it comes down to the one thing I will share about, because something I definitely share, is the fact of, it's a perception, right? It's a perception. And that perception is what makes the difference in people's lives. Now, that might be what makes you think positively. It might be what makes you think negatively, to be quite honest with you.
Mhm.
You know,
I it is an interesting topic, but do you want to go there today? Because I know that you're holding that
oh
to
no, we
the
don't have to
wheels.
go there. I was just saying that we just have to just have perspective. That's kind of where I want to leave it. That you have to have a perspective, and the perspective you have affects not only you but everyone else that's around you.
Well, it's all about perspective, right? It's the way you see the world, right?
Yes,
and
yes,
and again
absolutely.
I think we're always going to come back to that little item that
We
people
come back. We come back to a lot of things, don't we?
well, some of the basics, right? They're like the standardized foundations, and you have to keep always going back to the basics, right? And that's
Right.
it. And so anyways, so we were just thinking about having a discussion about, I mean, you mentioned culture right now, corporate culture, and we can talk about that. um as far as I'm concerned, if you're watching and listening right now, everybody's got their own views of how to see a company and, how you want to operate in a company and in business, whether and then it's funny because John has businesses right now. He's running. I got a couple going on. I work for corporate. So I'm on both sides of the fence. And I can tell you it's a little, depends what side of the fence you sit here.
It's
Things
not
are,
greener on either side. You have to do different work on each side. I'll just tell you that.
uh,
There's yeah. If you're working for yourself, you got to do a little more work. If you're working for a company, you might do a little less work, but then you also may not get the full benefit. So, there are trade-offs in there, right?
Yes. Well, actually, I think the concept of grass not green any there's no grass green anywhere. Because it's only again you talked about perspective, right? It's just that. But you join a company with a hope that this company is going to be the greatest thing, and it's going to you're going to get your potential growth in there, your career path. But some companies do work with that and cherish that, and they promote that concept whereby you get started and you grow with them, and you can spend years in there and go up in the hierarchies. And some companies are different. They just hire you for the job and that's it, and then they find always talent
And they don't
outside.
appreciate the value, right, that you really bring to the table.
I want to go back. I want to give you a story, John. This happened to me years
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what not to you specifically, but the audience as well, because this is actually a true fact. And when I started my career path in the insurance space, right?
Mhm.
I started with a company, and it was literally at the beginning of that company. They had just started. They were in a small office somewhere in Brooklyn, and we were actually 30 employees in the whole company at the time, right?
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was a small place. And then ultimately, a few years, a decade or more later, it was like over 2,000 people in there. But in that early stages of that company, everybody was family. Everybody operated as family. The
Mhm.
concept that we had was very, very close. Everybody worked with each other. Everybody liked each other. Everybody supported each other, and it was corporate, but it was not corporate. So the environment was very appealing to actually do more and work. And you thought it was your company. I mean, I was an employee, but I worked for it like it was mine. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and I believe that's actually a very important piece that we can dissect here is that anyone, whatever you work, when you work, first of all, I do believe that I work for myself all the time,
Mhm.
every time since the beginning of time. All right. When I started working, I've always worked for me and for my family, number one. But when you work in an environment that encourages you to actually get the action going and feel part of it, part of the decision making, part of the success, you and being recognized, all those things, it encourages you to do more and give more and build more for that company. And so that was, for the first few years, that's how it went. I mean, it was really good. And we were all about growth and our members at the time and doing new things, being innovative and really being ahead of the game, being even top competitor in the marketplace and with the regulatory departments or bodies around the nation. We were actually in some records as top of the line, even models in terms of some processes we had. But then what I've noticed as the company started growing, and growing pains and corporations can be a little painful, and sometimes companies
Mhm.
don't adjust. Then also you have unfortunately sometimes leadership also changes, and then the actual the way the mission, the division starts shifting a little bit, and then you get a little bit more of politics get involved in the process, and next thing you know, that whole environment where you're really were looking forward to going to that place became almost like I don't want to be in this place. And I personally on one time I left that company, and I had an exit interview, and I clearly stated, I said, I told, at the time, the person who was the leader of the company,
Mhm.
I said to them, hey, listen, we've changed a lot, and we've changed for the worse, not for the best. And this is where the decline of this place is going to be. And believe it or not, I called it because a couple of years later, things were not going the same way, and the trajectory was going downwards. Eventually, the company has, got bought up and everything. But the concept that I'm sharing here is really something for all of us, for viewers here and audiences today, is that you want to look for a place where you want to be part of the company, feel part of the company, feel that you are being liked. And I'm not talking about like, in the typical sense, meaning that you are, what do you call it? Valued. I think that's the key word here. So valued for who you are, for what you're bringing to the company, and supported. And also, recognize step every step of the way, every small achievement that you do, you'll get the actual reward for it. And I'm not talking here the reward as you need the, to get a certificate or, anything, but more like you feel like, wow, I'm doing the work and I'm seeing the recognition. If there's a position that's opening up and maybe that's something that you qualify for and you go for it, they should see the value that you're going to come up and, raise to the occasion there and make it work. And so that's kind of like just, and I'll stop there. And John, any interaction, at least this is from the corporate side, and then we can talk from the ownership, or the I guess
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the people that own the companies, because the employers, right? Because I mean, we have two versions here. We have to talk about from an employee perspective and also from an employer perspective. So what do you think?
No, I think that's really, really important. I think for whatever reason, people don't understand that there is an employee perspective and then there is an owner perspective. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, you know, they just believe that when they're on the employee side, that it's easy, or on the because the employer has it easy. But I'm telling you, they don't have it easy. Okay, they don't have it easy. You may think that they have it so easy because they get to do certain things, but you don't realize what you don't see. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I have to share with you. You don't realize what you don't see. And by not realizing what you don't see, is quite important. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's quite important. And so when we think about that, I think as a person, you'll understand that sometimes people see something a certain way, but then you know what happens? They get frustrated. They get frustrated because something doesn't work the way they want it to work. And then they just think, well, it's really easy. I can just do whatever I want. But, really you can't. And if you're somebody, we've talked about this before, HH, if you're not disciplined, right, then you're going to have a lot of problems working for yourself. Do you
Well, that
agree?
oh, definitely. I mean, and I think that's probably why the majority of people wind up working for an employer versus doing their own thing, because um, in a company there's structure. You have to come in, you got to do this. There's tasks, this delegation. There's stuff that's being given to you and assigned to you, tasks and stuff. And there's also checks and balances. But if you do this on your own, it is tough, because you have to actually, to your point, be organized, be literally super calculated in your minutes of the day, because every single minute that goes on you have to do certain things. And if you're really just all over the map, that stuff is not going to work. And running a business is not simple stuff. And for a lot of people that they don't, whoever has not had a business, they may not know this, but first of all, it's an investment, right, of money. and
Absolutely.
and and you, if you see, and that's the other thing, you need to see results. And sometimes if you don't see results right away, it becomes very frustrating, and before you know it, you start giving up. And so it's a long-term commitment, and you have to actually probably do more than the average person that works for a corporation, because you gotta move faster on all directions, and you have to put more hours. That's the other thing. People think that oh, I'm gonna go do my own business, and I'm just not gonna work, and I'll be like somewhere on the beach, and the business is gonna be booming. Maybe if you do investment, that might work, in a way, and that depends what kind of investment you go in. But if you're really operating a live business, I think the challenge here is that you need to be part of that business, and until you get it running and in cruise control, and you have some people that you can trust to be at the helm of that, like like on a ship, for example, the captain can go and hang out while the ship's still running smooth. You're still going to be in charge, which means you will take years before you get to that point. And of course, yours depends here. I mean, it's variable depending on who and what kind of type of business you have. But the
Correct.
fact of the matter, it's going to take time. I mean, John, you're a serial entrepreneur. You've had so
Hmm.
many companies, and I remember our first show. You talked about how you started since you were younger, and
Hmm.
you went on your own business, and helped out and all the stuff with the family. And when you're talking about that, that's talking about discipline. That's pure discipline. Not everybody has that. As a matter of fact, even in employees, sometimes people don't show up and they're late and this and that. So there's always a challenge, in this. And that's just human nature, because we need to get organized. School, for example, tries to teach you that, right? You need to show up at a certain time. You have classes, you got to be there. There's tardiness, there's, absenteeism and all the stuff that's being monitored. And those are the measures that they kind of keep you, on checkpoint. If you're the boss, well, who's
Hmm.
going to check you? Right? You know what? I'm just gonna wake up late today. I'll start at 12. And at 12, like I'm not too in it today, maybe tomorrow. And then if you go with this attitude, forget about it. Your business going down the tubes, man. So John.
I think that's the main thing to understand is that it is something that people need to embrace, and that when they see something, they think that well, they see a price thing like, well, you're charging a lot for that. Well, you don't realize, first of all, it's another business, number one. Second of all, they don't realize that not only is that cost got to pay for lights, employees, insurance, and so many other things. Until you own a business, you don't really know what a business costs. Does that make sense?
That's right, and it's not cheap, right? I mean, people don't realize but just the infrastructure. Even if you have it at home, it is still a cost to it. I mean, just to set up your whatever you're doing, right? It's gonna take a lot of investment, and it's your hard-earned money that is being in play. And sometimes that's the thing. When you're an employee, you might not care so much because it's like, okay, it's not my money. I mean, I just work here, right? But that's what I gave that example when I started in this particular company. I mean, we believed that it was ours. We were given that feeling that this is your future. This is you're investing, you put in your time, and you'll get something out of it. And now ultimately we can talk stories about what that means and what that taught me overall over the years. And that's where I'm always balanced between having my own and working for corporations. So it's both ways, and I understand both dynamics, and I try to balance between those two, and I understand it from both sides. So employee employer kind of concept. And if you're running something and you want to get results, you need to behave a certain way, right? You talked about habits, right? Last time, I
Yes,
think
that's exactly right.
you got to keep the right habits, and you got to work on those habits, and you got to maintain. It's not just let's do this and wing it. It doesn't happen that way. Nothing gets winged, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. So, John,
I
uh,
think I think I think I think I said a mouthful there.
well, that's quite a bit. Um, yeah, again, so again, we can continue in terms of the culture. Now we talked about just the feeling of like a business when you get into the business, whether how you can operate and whether you feel part of it or not, and whether you see a path to success and growth. I think everybody. I mean, that's something installed in us as career paths. When you go to school, right? The first thing you get and you, especially when you have high school and things like that, they start almost preparing you for this, right? And you're going to get into this corporate world, and you're going to start the ladder, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. The majority actually starts there, and that's where they're going, right? And you might choose a career path that catapults you a little bit to the next level and next level, and maybe to the highest level. I mean, I for one, for example, I can say it, that was my thing. I wanted to actually to climb that ladder of corporate and make it to whatever my expertise is, to one of the highest points. And that was my vision, or at least my way of looking at my growth, until a certain point where I realized that's great, and I've done that, been there, done that, but it's something to diversify. Now let's do some more stuff, because I also have the philosophy of never put all your eggs in one basket. That's why I'm always in a lot of hats, right? And I wear a lot of hats. So, but that's a concept, right? So
Yes.
having you um, in your mind thinking that I want to do this to grow specifically in this particular company, you need to do your due diligence, because first things first, right? You want to go into this corporation for whatever job that you apply in. And this is one thing that people sometimes, when you go to an interview, you're looking at it from what they're doing. They're interviewing you, and it's a two-way street. You're also interviewing them, and this could be for you. It may not be for you. Sometimes most of the candidates, yeah, and I've seen this personally, they don't ask about. They just asked about. They expect you to ask the questions and do the stuff, but they don't ask the right questions, or they don't ask anything about the company and where they see themselves, and therefore they're not really sure about where they get into, right? Like if you ask the right question, sometimes you will know that maybe this is not the place I want to be. The culture is definitely not going to be good. How's the culture, right? Is this a dictatorship culture? Is this a company that doesn't care? Am I even going to grow in this company? Is there room for growth in here? That's a big one, right? Is this like a micromanagement kind of environment where I cannot breathe, or I cannot do? Is this a company where I can be dressed relaxed, so all these things could be things that we can ask for. Is there a tuition reimbursement for school? Many things. Some of these technical questions, are being taught in interview, classes and trainings. But really, the key here is in a discussion. Also, the person that you might be reporting to? Is that someone that you want to report to? I mean, if I meet with you, John, and you're drilling me in the interview, that's great. But I'm not feeling you, and it's not a good vibe. Why would I, even accept the job? Now, people accept job because sometimes they
Absolutely.
need the money, right? And or they're desperate to make the money, and that's sometimes the wrong decision. I know we all work for the money because we need to survive. I mean, life costs. There's nothing for free, and you have to be able to afford certain things, and depends on the lifestyle, whatever. You definitely want to make sure that you have a stream of income. But if you're doing this the wrong way, or you select and you settle in, that's a problem. You can go to 10 interviews and then get the right company that you're not going to leave from, or you can go to one interview and then settle for the job and wind up quitting in 2 months or 3 months, or even being terminated. Not a good place, not a good choice.
It's about, like you said, it's about the culture. But I was telling people this before. When you bring people to your company, be slow to hire and fast to fire. You might say, gee, why the heck would you take forever? Because I need the people. I know you need the people, but if you hire the wrong people, I know because I've done this, it's so expensive. Now, after you get your people, which I consider your core people, then you might need some day workers. That's possible. You have labor jobs, so you have to hire these gig workers. The problem is you also can't hire gig workers until you have core feet of staff on the ground that can manage those let's say transient or temporary workers. I think so many people think that they're just right away going to go up the flagpole tomorrow. And although I salute them, no pun intended, you have to first understand what it is you need. What resources do you need to run your business? So let's think about your home for a moment, right? What do you need to run your home? Well, you have bills like your gas, your electric, your phone, right? You need food. You need to keep things clean, right? Maybe you have a cleaning person. What do you need to keep your house clean? Maybe you have to pay for inspections or termites or pest control services or things like that. So what do you need? Now, once you know what you need, then it's easier to say, okay, gee, I'll take some superfluous stuff. And I think what that means is you've got to create a budget for where the company's coming from. And when you can do that, that's important. So the story that I was trying to allude to before, I can't mention the name of the team. So this company was really good in the sense that they were doing this free event and all this great stuff. The challenge is I could smell a rat. And what I mean by that is this company that I had taken a membership with, I've already canceled because they are not about really helping everyone. So one of the things they do is they do media. Now, they don't do media like I do media, like you do media. But what they were starting to do was not share my content. So I reached out and I said, what happened? And they said, well, we're just so busy. One of my friends who's been working with the company for a while, who got me on board with them, quit just yesterday. And I say this to you because the reason this company I found out wasn't helping me is they saw me as a threat. Now, I say this to you not to scare you. If someone sees you as a threat, don't be upset. Say thank you to yourself and move on, because there are going to be people that are going to appear to be better than you. That's fine. There's always going to be somebody better, right? There might be somebody not as good as you. But one thing I've learned, no matter where I am in business, no matter what level I'm at, I always need to be humble. I need to be respectful, and I need to be fair. And if I can't do those three things, then I shouldn't be in business. You might be on the top of all the magazines, HH, and be revered by the media. But you can fall as quick as you climbed.
The fall is always faster, and gravity pulls faster than anything. But it's true. It's true. I mean, but same thing, right? You can build 10 years of great, stuff.
And you can destroy it in a fraction of a second, right? We said that.
Yeah. That
and
never.
I think what happens is some people don't want to put the work in. They don't want to work. And I started noticing after we joined a few weeks ago that my content wasn't getting shared. So I didn't think anything of it. I signed up for an e-meeting because they don't take phone calls. Fine. I signed up for an e-meeting, which happened to me the other day. They blew it off. They never showed up. Oh, John, we were so busy.
Hmm.
You're so busy, but you have time to charge my card every month. Like, I don't, like, what are you giving me for my money? Like, what are you doing? And I think when you get somebody that is all hype, and I think they did a great thing what they did, but one thing that I kept in the back of my mind was I smelled a rat. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just smelled you are phony. I smelled that, but I couldn't like put my hand around it. And then when my good friend told me that they quit, that really brought home what I was driving, that they had all this great esteem. Now, they had an event that was free. Of course, everyone comes for free. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how many people are going to come back when you charge? Right? And it's easy to get some media coverage. That's not hard. But if you don't deliver time in, time out, again and again and again, you know what's going to happen? People are going to start talking about you. Oh, you know that company? Oh, you know that company? And it's not a matter that you're not the best. What matters is you're not being true to what you're doing. You know, I mean, I don't need to be a Steven Spielberg producer tomorrow, but it's important that if I'm producing great quality content, that I do that I don't neglect on what I promise my clients. And I
Right. That
think when you sell somebody a bag of goods and you suddenly, I don't want to say fall off the earth, but suddenly start to have fallouts with yourself and other team members, that's an indication to me that that company's probably going to fall apart.
that's very, very sad, and unfortunately, it happens. And you just hit on a very, deep topic there, because the concept of delivering the goods is all about what business is all about, right? It's
You
amazing
got to
because
deliver, you got to under promise, ladies and gentlemen, and you got to over deliver.
that's
And if
it.
you're tired of me hearing that, well, then too bad. You have to deliver time in and time out. Now, could there be times when you can't deliver because of an emergency? Sure. But if you're somebody who doesn't deliver time in and time out, like let's take Yelp, for example, right? None of us probably have a 10-star on Yelp. The reason we don't have a 10-star on Yelp is because we have a lot of, I won't use nice names, but a lot of people that are not really fair, a lot of people that are looking for nothing, right? Looking for something for nothing. I'll give you an example. About 15 years ago, there was a guy who called us and he wanted some help doing upgrades. You know how long this was from Windows. I believe it was Windows. We had Windows
7.
7, but he wanted to go from Windows XP to Windows 7. Okay, and that's a little bit of an upgrade if you don't have the right equipment. And so we were going through some information with him and sharing some information. He says, well, how would you go about doing that? I said, well, when you hire us, we'll be happy to tell you. Oh, so you really don't know? No, we know. It's just that I know you wouldn't do this. But let me tell you why I'm not going to share it with you, because I'm sure you can understand being a business owner, right? We share a lot of information, sometimes too much information. And then that information gets used against us because they then decide to do it themselves. Oh, do you know what happened the next day? He went on Yelp and gave us a very bad review. Said we were a horrible company, said we didn't know what we were talking about, and that we were trying to sell him. We weren't trying to sell him anything. He needed our services. So I think when somebody gets, I'm going to call this vanity metrics, and we've talked about this before. Yelp, Google, they're all vanity metrics, HH. At the end of the day, they don't bring you money. They don't bring me money. They might make people bad that they have 1 star. I don't give a blank that you have 1 star. I care that you take care of your clients. That's what I care about. And if some crappy media company is going to try to bring my reputation down, let them. Because my truth will always shine through.
John, thank you for bringing that up. But today we live in a society, or at least the age of reviews and stars. Unfortunately, it is kind of like what the trend is. People sometimes they don't even look at the business and stuff. They just think, how many stars? 5, 4, 3. Okay, you don't even look at the company. You don't even click on the company, and you move on. And to your point, it is sad because some of these reviews, if you read them, you'd be like, huh. As that you can tell this is somebody who's disgruntled and just kind of like venting on that particular review. And it's amazing how that is actually being the driver these days of decision, right?
You're right.
And it is crazy because you could be the best, and to your point, one person who twists the actual truth. And again, there's
Yep.
your truth, my truth, and real truth, right? And they just put whatever their perspective again and their end of the game and what they're feeling about it, no matter what. Again, talking about accountability, sometimes people are not accountable, and therefore they'll just put the finger and blame the others. And so because of that, you have bad review, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, if you have too many of those, then there is smoke, there is fire, right? But if it's one case here and there that's out there, you got to also look at the response. Sometimes you got to look at other, because I look at those. You get
Yep.
like great 5, yeah, this company is great, the best that happened to me. And you get one person like, they suck, scam, this.
Exactly. And I got to tell you something. If a company has 5 or 10 stars, I'm leery about them,
Good
because
point.
that means that they've never made a mistake. And if a company never made a mistake and was never able to resolve a problem, do you really want to work with somebody who's perfect? Because I believe that what you're going to find is that we all live in glass houses.
Be careful. Do not throw rocks, huh?
Do not throw rocks, ladies and gentlemen. Do not throw rocks.
Oh, that's gonna shatter your ability, your whole structure there. But you're right. And again, another great point is that there's nobody that's perfect. I mean, there's no such thing as perfectness,
I
right? I
met him
mean,
before he left. He was here before.
oh, okay. Well, do me a favor, send me his contact. I want to learn from him or her. So, but you know what I mean. The bottom line is that there are going to be conditions and circumstances. You're not going to meet everybody's expectation. You'll do the best that you can, and that's and the best that you can also is kind of like that's variable because it depends on who. Because the best that I can maybe is different from the best that John can do and somebody else. But the bottom line is there are parameters, there are metrics that can determine if you're really top notch or not, and then you have to be at that level. You can go to the 5-star, 6-star hotels, even 7 stars hotels, and you still may sometimes be surprised that, oh, this is not what I expected.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't. I didn't sign up for this.
exactly. So the bottom line is you need to be fair in a way. You have to look at the whole picture and know that there's always another story to the facts, right? That's just the way it is. And when you make those decisions, but you're right, like somebody like that makes the wrong move, they give you the wrong stars, the wrong reviews, and because they just want to get at you, right? And oh, I didn't like them, I want to give them,
I always say, Hurricane, karma will bite back, either nicely or badly.
karma
And I said
is.
that to a few people. You know what they told me? Are you threatening me? I'm not threatening you at all. I'm just telling you the world will move in cycles. Are you going to do something? I'm not going to do anything to you. The world will handle people.
Justice.
Well,
Divine
justice
justice.
doesn't always work. Remember, justice has
Well,
some
no, no, I meant
flaws, but
divine
yeah,
justice, not the
divine
just,
justice. Yeah,
not the human justice.
that
it's funny.
system's got some flaws in it.
Well, they say you don't find justice in the court of law; you just find the
No,
law.
no. So what you have to realize is somebody who has, let's say, left you out to dry. It happens. So what I typically do is I go back to them and say, "Hey, I guess you weren't interested in this anymore. That's okay, no problem. Take care." And either I'll get a message back saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not interested," or I'll get a message back saying, "No, no, 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 no. I just been really busy. I'm going to get back to you." So sometimes it's a wake up call, but I think what we as humans have to understand is that if something doesn't go the way we want it to go at the moment we want, go have a beer, go chill, go relax, right? Because divine timing has everything in the perfect way. And things unfold when you open up your eyes. But many people still have their eyes closed like this, HH, and they're waiting. They're waiting.
Waiting for what?
I think they're waiting for a sense of self-righteousness, which is never going to come.
Yeah. It's tough. So John, since we're talking about the concept of, in the business world, and we're talking about like cultures and expectations on both sides of the spectrum. I mean, I've covered a little
Yep.
bit on the expectations on the employee. You covered a little
Yep.
bit on the expectation on the employer, and both of those items. I mean, today you may be an employee, tomorrow you might be the entrepreneur that's becoming the employer. And sometimes the way you like to be treated should be the way you will be treating others, right? And so don't forget those days when you were still in somebody else's payroll, and now you're the one who's actually paying the people. That's an interesting concept where you have to be talking about justice, because again, to your point, karma will get back at you very
It
quickly.
will. It will. And this is why, if you have employees that work for you, or I have interns that have helped out and you teach them, I believe it's really important that you give them a value, whether it's through education, through money. The reason I say that is that when you get someone that believes in you, that's able to share and start being a mouthpiece for you, okay,
Mm.
that's priceless. Not because of the advertising, but because of what that does. See, most people don't realize that when somebody's around talking about you in a positive way, you know what it does? It boosts up your self-esteem.
Yep, true. But you bring in again another yet powerful
I
point
bring
is that
lousy points up, don't I? No.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, again, maybe somebody will say, "Oh, these are lousy points," and that's okay too. If it's all perspective,
But the
right?
thing is, they're lousy points if you believe that you don't want to change. If you believe that your life is 100% perfect, okay, and there's nothing you can change, well, I'd like to disagree with you. And I'd like to say that you're probably not being honest. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell HH. We don't care. We're not here to judge. But if you want a level of quality in your life, to have the best life possible, you'll be humble and at least admit it to yourself. You have to share it to the world, but admit it to yourself. Admit it to the mirror at night. Hey, mirror, I'm not perfect. And yes, I said that. I'm not perfect. And how can I do this? But the biggest question I tell people is, don't ask if you're going to do something. Ask what it's going to look like when. How am I going to feel like when? What's it going to feel like when I start seeing more abundance in my life? You know what's going to happen? You're going to attract abundance into your life. What's it going to feel like when I have more health?
Mm.
Right? So people have to understand that you've got to put work into something. If you want more health, better health, if you want more finances, you want better relationships, you got to put the work in. You don't go download this on eBay for $9.99 and you just read a book and it just happens overnight. No. You see, all these books are great online, okay? But they lack one important thing. Even the book that I'm going to write, they're all great books. But none of these books are worth anything unless they have an exercise and people have made the commitment to change their life. One of the things I'm doing in my preamble is I'm writing something down that says, hey, I know this is just another book, my story of my life, and something hopefully will improve your life. However, before you even turn this page, I want you to commit to me and to yourself right now that you're going to look at your life and be open to change and the exercises that I'm giving forth. If you don't think you're able to do that right now, I'd ask you to close the book and come back when you're able to do that.
Well, again, the books, right? They're great, and they
Or
they
the
share
audiobooks, whatever it is. Yeah.
all books. Well, I mean, all content, right? It's
They're
all
they're
good.
all they're all great.
Yeah, I mean, you take the information from it, but the information without practice and taking action on it, it's irrelevant. I mean, like reading a book. I'm just another copy. Memorizing the book, I'm just another copycat of that book. But practicing and executing on whatever I learned from that book. That's why, for example, there's practice and theory, right? A book is the
Right.
theory, the practice is putting it in play. You take it on the road and you take it on the show and you make it work. And you're right. If there is no practical exercise that you can do, what's the benefit of it? Now you might learn different tricks and what's the point? Again, you learn them, you got to execute on them, you got to use them in real and maybe put them to the test. Maybe you disagree, maybe the results are different, but unless you do, you're not going to know. And you're right, there's so many books that that are out there, audio, visual, audio, regular, print, whatever. You got podcast shows, whatever, it's all available. It's a matter of taking that information and taking it and working with it. Bottom line, that's it. You wanted to say something there?
No, I'm just saying the point that, everybody wants something in their life, even if they say they don't. I wanted to lose weight. I want to stay healthy, right? And people come to me every day and say, John, that's fantastic. You did that. Who did you do it for? What do you mean? I did it for myself. Some people do it because they're trying to attract a mate. They do it for those reasons. If you're doing things in your life for someone else, don't do them. Because everything you do will elude you from this point forward. And you'll be living more of a life that lies and traps you. You're never going to get the opportunity to live a life that will make you happy, not someone else.
Wow. We still have 15 minutes. This would have been a good
Oh,
close
sorry.
to the show. that was good. That was good. That's a tough comeback there. But it is an important value there, because you're right. I mean, you got to do it. You got to do it with conviction. It has to be for you. It has to be fulfilling. And you can do everything for everybody. And, people will eventually drop you dead. Unfortunately, that's just nature.
They will. And when somebody drops you, okay, or they don't connect with you anymore, don't chase them. They're either going to come back to you or they're not. And I believe that's all for the best, because there's so many people out there, HH, that have their hand out like this and they don't want a piece of candy. I can tell you that right now. They're looking for something else. And I have to say that this is not about earning money. This is about self-worth and your value. So value has to do with what you believe you're worth as a person. Okay? Doesn't matter. If you believe you're worth $1 an hour, well, that's all you're ever going to earn is $1 an hour. Okay? You got to believe that you're worth something better than that. Because if you're not, you're going to be like, I hate to charge this customer. Like, I really hate to charge them. A big change in my life, HH, that I did a few years ago. We have a big contract with a client of ours that we've been working with for a while. But we've been noticing for a while that this client was starting to browbeat us on a few dollars. $5 here, $5 there. So I politely, the next time they called us, they said, can you come out there tomorrow? I said, we can, at this rate. Oh, buddy, sorry, we don't have that in our budget. I said, well, goodbye. And I hung up on him. Calls you back. He said, what happened? I said, I think I said goodbye. Well, no. So you can't do it? I can do it for the price I gave you. Okay, how about if we do it for, then they go down $1? How about if we do it for that? I think I got another call. Goodbye. And so they don't get it. And so this is really, really important. Another thing that happened to me was I had a client, same client, have us pick a day on the calendar. Now, I'm very picky about days on my calendar, unless they're good clients and unless they're prepaying the day. So they said, we need you on the 24th, which incidentally is coming up on next Monday. Booked the whole day for a team of 10 of us with several jobs. Calls back the other day and says, oh, buddy, that job you guys are doing those 10 jobs? I said, yep. They need you to move it to the 1st of November. I said, excuse me? Yeah, they can't do it on the 24th, or we can do it on the 1st. We're not available on the 1st. Oh, come on. Can you help me out, please? And they try to placate you. And the old John many years would be like, all right, you know what? I'll help you. Now I'm just like, no, I'm really busy. So unless you are going to be doing something, then I think you need to be, changing how you talk with me, because I'm not going to take your calls after I've hung up on you 3 times. I'm not interested in talking with you anymore on this. And I think they feel that if they're going to wear you down. So my message here, HH, is don't let them wear you down. You might think that you're never going to get a call. You might think that you're being rude. You're not. So I went to the one person and I said to them, look, don't you ever do that again. Don't you ever book me for X jobs again. Okay? Don't you ever do that. I said, and because of what you did, you've screwed yourself. I will, and my company will never book a time with you that is not already available. So we're never going to move a client around for you. We're not doing it. So if we have work, you're now demoted to a filler client, which means that if we have work time, we'll help you. But it'll be on our schedule and our budget. They didn't like that. Another lady I talked to called me from the team. Oh, John, what's wrong? What's the matter with you? No, I put my foot down because you people don't listen. And you think you can just step on me and it's done. It's over. Why are you like that? Why are you being so mean like that? Because you people are abusing my company and I. And I think some people, HH, are afraid to say they're worth value, to say they're worth more. Maybe the market says you're worth $10 an hour, but you're worth more than that. Don't let the market tell you what you should be charging. This is what I charge. If you don't like it, maybe you should call someone else.
Well, that is an important, piece of advice across the board. I think, you're talking about it from the perspective of a business and a principle of business.
And even if you're a freelancer or you're a gig worker, same
Exactly.
thing applies there, HH.
Yes, exactly. Individually, as an employee, you're being hired for a position that you have an expertise, and you don't settle for less just because. You have, because here's the thing, you dilute. It's like almost like you're cheaping up your own value. You you decreasing, you devaluating yourself. That's not a cool thing, And then next time you want to ask for money, you'll be like, well, you can do it for less. Why should I pay you more? So it's important. But on the flip side of that, don't overestimate yourself if you're not up to the
Well,
play.
if you're not up to that standard.
Exactly.
So if you are, let's just say, a carpenter, hypothetically, and you're a very good craftsman, you're like one of a kind, and you get X dollars an hour. But if you can't even miter 2 joints together, or can't even cut a piece of wood, don't tell them you're worth a couple $100. Don't do that, because you're going to be laughed out, because they're going to want to see your work.
Yeah.
And
Again,
what also I learned in the last 2 days is that when somebody is not willing to help you, you know what that means? They're afraid of you. They feel that you're going to rise above them. And you might. But I would think that's a great thing. Taking a little analogy of looking at your brick wall there. Every brick that's in a wall, okay, is carefully selected. Some are red, some are brown, all to form a different pattern. In your life, you need to pick, not your family, you need to pick the vendors, the people, the relationships, the contacts that you want in your brick wall. Because you can only have so many bricks in your wall, but you want the best bricks in your wall. And I think sometimes people just pick whatever's here, because you remember being on a team in high school. Nobody picks you. But that changes when you suddenly become the one that's the captain. Everybody wants you to pick them. But why should you? They never picked you. So you have a choice to pick. You have a choice to select. You have a choice to be discriminating, not in a bad way, but in a way that it's going to enhance your skills. Get people that don't have the skills you need, okay? And don't bring people that won't compliment you. I think that's really important. But too many people out today, they think, oh, this is all they're getting, or this is all they're paying at this place, this is all I can get. That's all you believe you can get, and that's all you're ever going to get.
Yep.
The minute you start telling people, well, I do this, I do that, and then look, well, you sent X people out there before, and they nearly broke the machine. Like, of course I charge more money. Like, I fixed it in 5 minutes. Yeah, but why do you charge so much? Well, remember something. You don't pay. I always tell people this. You never pay me always for the time that I'm working, even though it might seem like that. If I come out there and I fix something, some jobs I do as a flat rate, you're paying me for my experience and my education. Yeah, but you're only here 5 minutes. Yeah, but I went to school for a long time and I've had 20, 30 years of experience in the field. Those people at your quick stores don't. And that's why they get $15 an hour. And when they finish fixing your computer, you better hope it still works. Oh, yeah, one other thing. We're also not going to try to sell you things that we're going to make more money on this week because, see, we actually do things ethically because we want to get things that are going to help you, not just our bottom line. Oh. And that's a hard concept, HH, for a lot of people to digest. Because what if I ask for this money and I don't get it? Does that mean I'm not worth it? No. Just means that you hit somebody that said no. But you have to believe, just like the Yankees or whatever team you root for, that you're going to hit that home run, like number
Let's go
62,
Yankees.
like Judge, right? You got to believe you're going to hit it. Because when you believe, everything in your mind and body align to bring you to the appropriate time and place for that to be executed.
John, this is something that applies, as you said, to the value, your selection. You talked about that brick wall behind, and I love that analogy, as a matter of fact. And
I'm
that
glad.
actually, well, it that ties into our lives, right? In
Yes.
general, so business or personal, because we also have to be careful when we select the employer, select the employee, select your friendship, your circles. All of it has to be carefully, picked. Otherwise,
Your
you're gonna.
life partner, even though you're attracted to them, you're making a selection. Once that person's in your family, you don't pick who's in the family, who's your brother and sister. You don't pick that. So pick wise once correctly, and you'll never be dissatisfied with what you have.
Yep, and also from a business perspective, you pick the right people around you, that your circles. I mean, the people that are positive, the people are going to motivate you, the people are going to support you, the people are going to see your value, and always pump you up, as opposed to the people like, you're worth nothing. What do you think? Who are you? You're going to think you're going to take the world, whatever, and then that's it. So they just demoralize you, and the next thing you know, you're not doing it. And so again, selection is key, and your circles are key, and these are all concepts that some of you probably watching and listening right now. You're like, well, you guys are preaching to the choir. We know these things. Yeah, I mean, we all know these things, but unfortunately, we don't practice them.
But do you practice them?
Yep.
We all know that we should be eating healthy foods, right? But do we practice them? Do we take our breath several times a day to see how healthy we are? No. So one wise, and I'll end with this. There was a man, and actually 2 parts of the story. He was up on the mountain, wise man, this monk, and the boy went up to him, and he had the bird, a live bird in his hand, and he had that, and there was a dead bird. So the monk has the live bird in his hand, and he gives the boy the bird, and the boy says, is the bird dead or alive when I put it behind my back? And the monk said something very interesting. He said, young son, I cannot answer that question, because if I say the bird is alive, you'll show me the live bird. If I say the bird is dead, you will choke the bird, kill the bird. So really, my son, the answer to that doesn't lie in what I say, but lies truly in your hands. You have the power to make a change, positive or negative. And the last story I lead you with, that's to summarize, there was a boy. He decided that he wanted to become a monk. So young boy wanted to become a monk. So he runs away, goes to this monastery, says he wants to become a monk. And the monk tells him, okay, you want a monk? You want to be a monk? Great. Come back here to first he says to the boy, he says, do you know how to swim? He goes, no, I don't know how to swim. Good. Do you know how to row a boat? Yeah, I know how to row a boat. Good. Come back here tomorrow, 6 a.m., and we're going to row a boat. And the guy's like, okay. He's like, this guru's crazy. He says, I want to make money. I don't want to row a boat. I want to become a monk. Like, well, what's up with this guy? So he comes back early in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning. He said, these monks are crazy. Gets in the boat. Monk tells him to row the boat. He rows the boat, rows the boat, rows the boat. They get out in the middle. And just when they're out there and he's kind of looking, he takes him, he dunks him in the water. Gets back up. Just as he started to breathe again, dunks him back in the water again. Takes him out. Does it one more time. He goes, these people are tough here in the East. And they goes, what is it that you wanted when you came back up? I don't know. I just want to. I just wanted to. I guess I just wanted to breathe. Just wanted to live. Exactly. Young son, you don't want to become a monk. When you put as much energy into wanting to breathe, you'll be successful. And when you decide, when you're 100 years old, to come back and have that much vigor to become a monk, I'll make you a monk. So I send you away with this blessing. And that is, when you start to believe and you start to put the same amount of desire and passion into breathing in life, that's when your creations will become a success.
Wow. We got some wisdom going on here with the guru business. I love it. I love it. Well. Listen, I mean, I think our audiences got the drift and the message here. It is important, very important that sometimes we put things to practice. We have to believe. We have to. Again, I love your concept of believe and achieve. So it
I
never
put my
fails.
hat on tonight. It's right here.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So again, I think it's funny because you always somehow, somewhere, you come back to the same model. This is
It is our life, and anybody that wants to be obstinate and avoid it, they're either people that shouldn't be in my life, or they're people that actually recircle and say, you know what? Maybe I should start believing.
That's
It's a
it.
very subtle twist. But as we're almost out of time here, I leave you with one new nuance, and that is, if you guys are looking for even more content from me, believemeachieve.com. I'm very happy to announce that I have now got on back to my faithful writing journeys again. And not only do I write for clients, as I always have, I'm now writing for my businesses on a regular basis, several times a week. I've launched 6 new articles. And just on my LinkedIn article for tech, I think we have about 217 subscribers in just a couple days. So I've got all kinds of stuff like Hackers are after your data, how to network, script kiddies are after your data. What is SEO, search engine optimization? 600 to 1200 word compositions that if you really take the time to read, they're going to impart some knowledge on you without you knowing it.
Well, John, keep up the great work as always. And folks, you're watching, listening. This is an hour that we have some fun here, and we share some wisdom and some of our expertise here, or at least some of our opinion. Either way, take it for what it's worth. But do check the description of the show, because there's a lot of stuff in there, and all the links that John is mentioning are there. You can click on there, and you can travel around, and he's all over. I mean, there's so much stuff that's available through him and through his work, and in the network. So there's so much wealth here of knowledge, and just principles that you could put to play and practice. So why not take advantage of it? Like, again, this
And
is
and
all there's.
you haven't been watching the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've been living the show.
I like that. That's powerful. Yeah, nice. Well, we were hoping that some folks will interact with us, and we're gonna keep doing this. It's gonna
Maybe
be
next
live.
time.
Yeah, it's going to be live, and we're going to make sure that we're announcing it this time in advance, so this way people can be reminded of the show. I
I
think that's
think
that's what
people that are maybe on the fence about interacting, and I say this to them today, um, there's no right or wrong way to interact with us. We just ask you to be courteous, but maybe you're afraid about saying something. You don't want somebody to see you. So what I would say to you is, you have a question about something in life, you can phrase it in a generality. So if you're afraid about the situation, girlfriend, boyfriend, or something at work, you don't have to tell us where it is. You can just tell us you're having an issue with this, or you don't agree with that. And you don't even have to tell us the context. And you can still gain some wise information from HH and I.
And again, we'll give you our answers based on our, we come from different, walks of lives, different expertises and stuff. So you'll get a nice little, full three-dimensional, purpose here, like, stuff. So you can use it. And again, why not? And then you can ask other, people, and just make up your own concept out of it. That's all. So again, we expect, hopefully that next week we'll do a pre-show introduction. Therefore, like, you'll basically have an announcement in advance, so this way just to keep you posted. But it will be at 7 p.m. On Monday. It will be live, and again, it will be Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, and what else?
And we're
That's
hoping to
it.
have a good.
And YouTube.
We're hoping to have a good holiday party, hopefully, in either Thanksgiving. We might do. Maybe we'll do a Thanksgiving show, because we're so grateful to be here with each other, and all the information we're sharing. We're going to do a gratitude show. Hope you'll join us.
Actually, I love that. Gratitude is big, and I think we can have a whole hour talking about how being
And then, of
grateful
course,
for things.
we'll have our holiday show, and then we'll also have a special show for the new year. Have you started? And we'll tell you how you need to get ready for the new year, and what you need to do so that you're actually proactive and not reactive. And I have to tell you, going to the gym, it's not going to get you to lose weight alone. It starts in the kitchen.
Well, let's save that wealth of good deal, and we're gonna talk about your tool there, because I think that's a key element. I think we should just promote that thing. I mean, they should give you some sort of some sort of what do you call it, sponsorship there, because you're always up there with that thing. So hey, we'll talk about that as well. I think
We're going to do a video. I haven't reached them yet, but we're going to do a video and say to them, hey, because we do that with some people. Someone will say yes or no. So I think when they see some of the work, maybe, but they're a European company, so they're kind of funny.
Oh, all right. Well, that's different. But hey, listen, maybe they want more of that product in the States, so maybe it's an opportunity to promote them.
Yes.
It certainly sounds like a great tool. So hey, why not? A lot of people can use it.
It is, and I was so happy. I'm at a 1. I got to go home and have dinner. So I had gotten a chicken cordon bleu the other night. I had 2 pinwheels on Saturday, 2 pinwheels last night, 2 pinwheels tonight, and I had carrot cake, a third last night, a third the night before, and the last third tonight.
You just gave me a little munchies right now. All right, John, I think it's time to wrap it up. All yours, baby.
It's been great being with you. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and you are?
hurricaneh.
And together we are
Double impact. That's it.
We'll see you
We'll
guys
talk.
next Monday. That's a week before all the Halloween trick-or-treaters, so don't tell us you can't come because of that. And, on the 31st, if you can't make it because you're out, blasting the neighborhood, you can always watch the show later on
Nope, it's all over the place.
with all your
Folks,
candy, Bye, everyone. Have a good
take it
night.
easy. Bye-bye.